Al, it's time for us to head back into the world of live action anime adaptations, or manga adaptations in this case, actually.
Mm-hmm.
As we've gone back to a series that we have watched before because there was more episodes out that I forgot were actually out
Yeah, and I had
until
no
just
idea.
recently. And I was like, oh, we should watch this. That would be a good idea. Whoopsie daisy.
Whoops. So now we're here to talk about what we watched, because we did.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc, Al, and Ladium.
Hello.
This is episode number 296. 296.
296.
Closing in on 300.
Have you come up with anything for your idea yet?
I've been looking into some stuff.
Mm.
It's one of those things I'm going to be picky. Because I'm
Okay.
like, is this good? Especially
Okay.
for a first-time viewer.
Yeah.
I have to figure that out as well. So that's the difficult part.
Yeah, that's I believe in you.
I will try my best. I will do my rubesty.
Gamba Jared.
Thank you, buddy. But regardless, we are talking about today the second set of live-action OVAs of the Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe television drama. Hooray. Drama.
Hooray.
These episodes came out at the end of last year in December, and I just forgot that they existed or just completely glossed over the fact that they existed. It's one or the other. Who knows? That was almost 9 months ago, so who could say?
That's wild to me.
Who could say? So we got another 3 episodes to go through. 2 of them were already done in the anime adaptation, so we have already watched those and have already discussed those, but we'll talk about the differences between, both versions and everything. And the middle episode is kind of a mixture of some stories that occurred in the actual part 4 story.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an interesting decision that they made here, I thought.
Yes, I agree.
Before we get into these episodes, would you like to talk about some production and what the cast thought of these episodes?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. In the episode The Run, scenes of Yomo running were shot in Shibara Island, Tokyo. The gym is the gym of the NAS Wellness and Spa Club. If you wanted to go there, you could go there. It's a very nice gym.
Very nice gym.
Yeah. The scene where Yoma kicks a bicycle is situated near the following address: 1429 Mira Meidara, Miyameku, Kawasaki, Kanagawa Prefecture. Go there and kick over a bicycle as well.
It didn't make sense to me at first because he was like, man, screw this particular bicycle. And then it came back and I was like, oh.
Yeah. The tunnel Yoma runs through is the second Kakai no Kidai tunnel situated in Ichihara, Chiba Prefecture. For the production of the episode, Sho Kasamatsu, Yoma Hashimoto's actor, had to follow a strict diet followed by a personal trainer, which makes sense because he was shredded.
He was jacked and dehydrated.
Kasamatsu also never practiced bouldering, and thus his trainer took him on a 2-hour practice session before the shooting. So I guess they just did that.
I guess they did just, wow. Because we were trying to figure out how they filmed that, and I guess they just had this poor man boulder.
It's wild. Afterwards, Kasamasa was able to boulder inside of the apartment for the shooting. Kasamasa reports that he almost cried when the director Watanabe thanked him afterwards.
Oh,
That's wild.
that's crazy that they had this man bouldering.
Especially because they're like, hey, we're going to take you for 2 hours to do this. And then
2
he just
hours.
does it. Good on you, dude.
Yeah, that's commitment
Yeah.
and talent.
Mm-hmm. The alley serving as a boundary to the other world and from behind is actually an alley adjacent to the Chiyoda Kajicho post office in Tokyo. And then the village in Musukabe Hill is the Japanese village of Akasawa, with part of the episode being filmed near Akasawa's Osakaya Inn. Kyoka Izumi's cakes are cakes from Nicholas and Herb's brand. The Osato House is the Kinakaku, a historical hot spring hotel situated in Atami, Shizuoka. So there you go.
Those cakes kept coming up.
They did keep coming up.
She really wanted to eat those cakes.
She did, and she never got to eat those cakes.
Never got to eat those cakes. Poor gal.
Here's how they promoted this season.
Okay.
which was much different than last time. Season two's promotion was more ambitious with not only several teaser trailers, but unique events and interviews. One of the promotional events for the spoke Rohan Kishibe was My Rohan Kishibe Talk, a talk show which aired on December 18th, 2021, and was rebroadcast on December 27th, 2021. In this program, Issei Takahashi, Ryo Uchida, Yasuko Kobayashi, the screenwriter for both the TV drama and the anime, and culture critic Sayawaka talk about the unique worldview and appeal of the original work, the anime, and the drama while analyzing the secret of its popularity. To promote the series, the 4 OVA animation episodes also aired on TV. The NHK TV channel also promoted the series via its Tensai TV Kun Hello special program, in which TV warrior Chan Kawai of the W Engine comedy duo and guest presenter Kazuhiro Ozawa of the Speedwagon comedy duo talked about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and thus spoke Rohan Kishibe's themes of celebrating humanity and philosophy of life. The program also featured cameos of Issei Takahashi and Marie Ietoyo. And then finally, a special exhibition of About the TV drama was held in Sendai from December 14th to January 10th, 2022, at Sendai's NHK Sendai Broadcasting Station. The exhibition displayed the costumes of the series' characters, as well as original design drawings by Isao Sugo, the Facebooks that form when Heaven's Door is activated, and various props and accessories used in the series.
The Facebooks.
That's very good. I would want to go see the Facebooks.
I would want to go see them too. Like I was mentioning when we were watching it, like it's very clearly just like some piece of paper thrown over like the actor's face, which is fine because that makes the most sense on how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like much cheaper than like trying to CG that stuff.
Yeah.
You already have to CG an opening. Don't have to CG the actual pages.
Yeah.
But I would go see that. And then I would go see his weird, like, long half shirt thing. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a sideways mullet shirt.
It's very something. It's very something. Yep, that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. It's very Rohan.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. And don't forget his workout gear.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, where everybody goes and works out, and leather and the one fingerless glove. Casually.
Good Lord.
Casually. As I mentioned while we were watching it, that just seems like a good recipe to get swamped.
Yep.
Leather workout gear. And
100%.
his big clunky boots. Whoofa doofa. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Give that man some tennis shoes.
Let's give that man some tennis shoes so he can run better and not hurt his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some cast commentary about what they thought about season 2.
Okay.
This is from Issei Takahashi, the actor for Rohan. During the filming last year, I was thinking about if a sequel was possible and what we could do next. The sequel hadn't been decided yet at that point. Director Mr. Kazutaka, producer Mr. Tsuchihashi, and character design supervisor Mr. Suge, cinematographer Mr. Yamamoto, and the lighting, costume, makeup, and production departments often talked on set about if there would be something after. Then at the end of the year, the spoke Rohan Kishibe was completed after we put everything we could do at the time into it. I think that many people who watched it were also looking forward to see what would come next. Following episodes 1, 2, and 3, now we have episodes 4, 5, and 6. As one of the actors, I felt the happiness of being able to play one role for a long time, while simultaneously enjoying my next project and giving it my all. Let's have an adventure together in this increasingly sophisticated and bizarre world.
Nice. Am I remembering incorrectly that he was like super jazzed to play this in the first place?
Yes.
Yes, I'm remembering incorrectly.
No, you're correct.
Okay. So he was probably really jazzed to get back into the role again.
Yes.
Yay, good for him. Also nice bringing in the bizarre there, buddy.
Uh-huh. He knows what he's doing.
See what you did there.
This is from Marie Ietoyo, the actress for Kyoko.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of last year, Kazutaka Watanabe, the director, told me, please keep your schedule open for next fall. So I was already looking forward to the sequel. My role originally only appeared in Millionaire Village, but I'm so excited to be able to be in charge of collecting data for Rohan Sensei as Kyoka Izumi once again. As Mr. Issei said, it's rare to have the opportunity of feeling happiness of being able to play one role for a long time, or the chance to work with the same staff. I want to cherish that feeling. I also participated wholeheartedly. Oh, and please look forward to Izumi-chan's new costume. Well, then, I look forward to seeing you at the end of the year in episodes 4, 5, and 6 of the Spoke Rohan Kishibe.
They really did show off that one costume.
They did, that's true.
Although she had multiple in the middle episode,
yes.
She had a different one, but for the most
part,
part, and a hat. The other ones are like hey, look, it's this outfit we made. Isn't it nice? And it actually is nice. I'd wear that.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
This is from Sho Kasamatsu, the actor for Yoma.
Yuma.
I was honored to work in a wonderful environment full of love for the original work. For the first time in my life, I had to restrict my diet and worked very hard. I felt like I was going to break many times, but I think I was able to surpass that because I was Yoma Hashimoto. To the viewers, please be gentle with me.
I had weird paper in my hair.
I did have weird paper in my hair, but I was also very shredded, so please enjoy my abs.
So shredded. So dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
That poor man. Watch me boulder.
Yes. This is from Inosuke Ichikawa, who was the Backman.
Oh, the Batman.
Yes.
That guy was a menace.
Yes. Ichan is now one of the most famous actors in Japan, and I was happy to accept the offer to act with him again. I was a little nervous since we hadn't acted together on screen since the Taiga drama, but thanks to the director and the rest of the team, the shooting went very well. I heard that episode 5 is an original story in a sense, inspired by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I was able to freely play the role of Masaso Kinoto. Please take a look, and I hope you enjoy it.
Nice. Wait, who's one of the most famous people in Japan?
I guess the dude playing Rohan? I don't know if that's true or not, but this guy seems to think so.
I'll say, when did that happen?
He became Rohan. Now he's the most famous actor in Japan.
I mean, that tracks.
And finally, we have Ryo Uchida, who played the proprietress of the house in Mutsukabe Hill.
Her, yes.
I'm really honored to be involved in the drama of my beloved JoJo and Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe series. Creating a work full of love with such professional staff was exciting and made me both happy, both as a fan of the original work and as an actor. I personally love Rohan Sensei so much that it was very difficult for me to control my heart rate so as to not bring it into the scene. It's 3 days at the end of the year. I'm going to wait in front of the TV with excitement too.
I like that she is like such a fangirl.
Yeah.
That's pretty amusing.
I mean, like, I feel like this series in particular really shows like kind of like the reach that this series has had throughout Japan, that like there's so many fans of it, and that like they're able to bring in people who are like big fans of the series and just get to like geek out over it and being a part of it in a way that they probably never thought they would be able to.
And it's wild because it's not even like the mainline series that they're geeking out about.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love how geeky these people are and how excited they are about Rohan.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
So let's dive into these episodes.
Okay.
Episodes 4, 5, and 6 of the OVAs. First up, we had The Run, which was one of the newer episodes that came out from the anime adaptation last year.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about this in depth last time we discussed these OVAs, the anime OVAs in particular. But we'll go over some of the differences here, obviously, because this is a live-action adaptation, so it's a little bit different. Probably the most noticeable thing within this adaptation in particular is that it's a less violent version of a lot of these episodes.
It's a lot less violent.
And we'll certainly get to that at the very end episode, for sure.
Yes.
But, like, you don't really see Yoma committing murder in the way you do in the anime. Where it's just like, you just see some bodies piled up, and it's like, oh, I guess he did some things and got rid of some people.
Yeah. Like, I don't think anybody's like shoved in a wall like they were in the anime.
No.
It's more like, I got rid of them.
Yeah, I think though the thing that this series does well is that like it's more suspenseful and more of like a thriller than just like going completely off the walls with like violence and blood and all that sort of stuff.
Which
like,
is great.
The anime OVAs do, yeah. So like you really kind of see like the transformation of Yoma, you know, through all of these running montages that he has and how he starts just like falling deeper and deeper into this like idea that he has to craft this perfect runner's body and everything.
Going off as a rocker.
Yeah, and there's some really good cinematography I think that we talked about when we were watching this episode of him like running through the pass which we eventually learned is Mutsukabe Hill and everything.
Right,
like,
they're so pretty.
They're so really nice, and like just the way like
the colors,
the way like it's lit, especially at like the nighttime scenes and everything. Like it's just really, really well done.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was like
so pretty,
a really cool way of doing this. And we also learned in this episode in particular how like these next 3 set of episodes essentially are based around the Mutsukabe Hill story, because we learn about it in this episode first, and like the story that Rohan tells Kyoko is essentially like an idea that kind of permeates into the Mutsukabe Hill story later on. So like all of these episodes are kind of building up to that story in particular, and I think it helps kind of just the way this series in particular does things is like it makes things kind of fit together a lot better instead of them just being three individual stories that are being told.
Yeah, I agree. And I'd even mentioned to you when we were watching this episode, it's like, oh, they're gonna talk about the one with the boyfriend and
Mm-hmm.
all that. And then I mean, I guess they did do the one with a boyfriend, but this is a different one that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So they were able, like, we do eventually get to that, but like this was a build up story
Mm-hmm.
to the final of the three,
Yeah,
which
like
was cool.
there's just a nice through line thread of throughout all these episodes that kind of like ties everything together. So like it just makes it a much better viewing experience that you're able to kind of like, all right, well, we're getting this later on. Let's see how they're able to tie that into what we're doing right now,
I
and
also
how it
love that
also makes
Rohan.
sense.
Oh, I love that Rohan's like, ah, yes, this happened to man A.
Yes, definitely not
Definitely
me.
not me.
I didn't
Nope.
commit a murder.
Some guy.
Wink, wink.
Yep. No, I didn't murder a guy. I didn't throw him out a window. It's fine.
I do like as well that like Yoma runs up to Rohan and he's just like got these like 5-10 pound dumbbells doing curls, and he's like, "Wow, you got a nice body.
It's so funny. He's just like interested in his body.
Who
It's like,
sculpted your body?"
and he's like, I did. I am an artist.
It's very funny. You don't see the weird like wings start piling out of Yoma's legs like you do in the anime here,
Nah.
but that dude is just jacked and like shirtless most of the time. So like they're just like, "Hey, let's just get this guy shredded and have him show off all the time."
With his strange little hair things.
His strange hair things and they fly out at the end.
Yep. Yep.
Also, shout out to the guy in the San Diego State shirt for no reason,
Right. You mentioned that and I forgot about it.
who just dies.
Ripperoni.
Ripperoni. But yeah, like I like this episode I think better in this than I did in the anime, because I feel like the anime one was kind of just like too over the top,
Yeah.
whereas this felt like there was a good progression of things that built up to it, and then you get to the climax at the end, and it's just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Just everything just kind of going off the rails in a very wild and weird way.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was fun. What did you? I mean, you probably also, I'm guessing, thought the same, or
Yeah, I mean, I think that they did a really good job with this, and you still maintain a lot of the like insanity of the plot,
mm-hmm.
I guess. Um, but you see a more like natural progression of him like losing his sanity to working out essentially. Um, whereas the other one makes him just like straight up like villainous almost the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one you could see like he's really like bummed out and put out by not getting the roles he wants, and he is initially like really intrigued and trying hard to figure out like, well, what do I want my body to look like, and how do I make this happen so I get these roles that I want. And then you just see him like fall into this weird hole.
His obsession with it.
And I think that involving the hill and the run was really smart.
Mm-hmm.
Um because then it becomes more of a like a supernaturally thing. I mean, like obviously you had the wings and stuff coming out of him in the anime, so that's for already supernatural to a degree. But like it has this air of a mystery behind it of like
It's not just like this dude
what
going
actually happened to this guy.
yeah, it's not like this dude just going insane because he wanted to run a lot. It's like, oh, he has to get possessed because of this
Yeah.
to make a little bit more sense in terms of the story. But yeah, I thought it was fun. A fun time. We ran so far away, couldn't get away. Anyways, episode 5, From Behind, which is not a story from The Spoke Rohan Kishibe, the the mangas or the light novels or anything like that. This comes from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable.
What a good series.
That is true. So there's an episode in Diamond is Unbreakable that, there's a man who comes up to Rohan's house and he won't show him his back. And Rohan gets very curious about why he doesn't want to show him his back. And eventually he finds out, like, oh, there's this thing that's, like, clawed onto his back. And if the person shows the other person their back, that thing goes to the person that sees it, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And they also implement into this the alleyway, which was also the thing where the girl who got murdered was.
Yep.
Where if you look back at a certain time, you'll get taken to the underworld.
Spirited away.
You get spirited away. So they basically kind of combine both of those ideas into this particular episode as well, which I think they do a really good job because it's a very bizarre, no pun intended, concept of how they do, especially with how they have to do this. When Rohan eventually looks at the dude's back and he just has the actor piggybacking on him the entire time for the rest of the episode.
Except for the one time where he does a weird back bend and then asks the delivery guy to just please ignore that he saw anything happening. He's just like, okay.
There's some very good ways that they try to avoid getting the back scene by Masazo and also by Rohan later on.
Yep.
It's just so all over the place and very good.
It's so good. It's so good. And probably in certain ways painful.
Yeah.
Like
having to carry that dude around.
Yeah, he was having to carry the guy around and just like piggyback him the whole time. He's just looking like a dang gremlin on his back, laughing at him.
Because there's parts in like the last like quarter of the episode where like they have to get to that alleyway and everything, and he's just having to like piggyback carry him and walk around with him on his back.
Yep.
And like that's not easy.
No.
Because there's another fully grown adult on your back. Like, that's going to be a little hard to get around.
Especially with you having to like maneuver in strange ways.
Yeah.
Like you can't just walk with somebody on your back. You have to walk in a way that like hides your back.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was a very weird and wild ride, especially throughout. But I thought it was an interesting way to like kind of bring forth stories from Diamond is Unbreakable into this and have it work in a way that like it doesn't feel out of place or like, outside of the realms of how this series operates. Like
it totally felt like it was in place.
Yeah, like it feels like it's something they could do like, with the next 3 set of episodes they're doing later this year, that like you could pull from something like that and just put it in here and it all fits really well. I mean, they did that with the first set of episodes where they had a story from the light novels. So like that's not like it's not something that's out of the realm of possibility that they could do because they've already done it. But I thought the way they implemented it here really made a lot of sense, and especially how again they tie it into the Mutsukabe Hill story of like, here's another specter that's come out of there and attached himself to this guy, and now he's got to figure out a way to not have his back seen because, oh God, he's going to get murdered. Or call his hands into your back like, hey, let people see me. Let people see your back.
Don't you want to give this to your assistant?
Hey.
Also worth noting that it happens a few times in the episode, and I recognized it immediately because it was like, that's from Robotics Notes. Because the song that plays is Kagome Kagome.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I know this song. I know this song.
I did kind of the same thing, and then like once you said, I was like, oh, right.
Yep.
Which like that song's already creepy in and of itself, so like tying it into here too is like that's a very good touch.
Yeah. So like I feel like that song is now the official theme of like supernatural scariness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah, that was a good pull as well.
I was so excited. It's like, oh, hey, I know that song. Thank you, Robotics Notes.
There's also some good Rohan and what's her face? Kyoka interactions in this because like she's off trying to like find him some supernatural stuff and like has this like all this stuff printed out from the internet. He's like, you got this from the internet. What are you doing? You know that's not real. She's like, well, I did all this work. And like she's also able to like she's the one that kind of gives him the idea to go to the alleyway to finish this thing off. Which I thought was real good. But yeah.
It was really, really good. And at one point he just like it's after Kagome plays and the dude on his back looks back and he's like, well, what if this takes you too? He's like, I'm willing to take that risk. I don't know what's up with you, man. And he's just like laughing hysterically at this idea he had. It's like, yeah, this tracks. This is very JoJo at this point.
Yeah. There's also a scene in here where like the creature on the back gives him the idea to give it to Kyoka.
Yes.
And you see him on her back, but in this scene he has the green hair actually.
Yes. I noticed that.
And he doesn't have it anywhere else except for that. And I thought that was an interesting touch.
I thought so too. I thought that was a really cool touch that they gave him the green hair for that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how about that?
And she's just like carrying like, oh, I don't like this.
Which, can you imagine having to film that?
Yeah, that
like,
would suck.
She's a pretty small woman. She's having to like carry this full grown man on her back. I hope they used a double somehow.
Yeah, I wonder.
But that was wild. But the green hair was a good touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a fun episode.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot of comedic moments, maybe intentional or unintentional.
I'm not sure, but it was great.
It was a lot of fun, yeah.
Also, it should be mentioned, I don't know if we have mentioned this so far, but this is all like built upon him buying the land and going bankrupt.
Yes.
Like these 3 episodes are dealing with that. And so part of why she's so dedicated to trying to figure these things out is because she's like, I don't want you to lose your house.
I like your house a lot. I don't want you to lose it.
I don't want you to go bankrupt. So I'm trying to help you out as much as I can here, buddy. Like, give me something to work with.
And he's like, hey, go ask the bosses if they will give me an advance. And she's like, all right. And then they give him an advance.
They do it.
They're like, here's a lot of money. Here you go.
Have fun.
We also don't want you to lose your house.
I don't remember which episode it was where they go to the cafe, but that was also a really good scene.
I think that's the first episode.
Was it the first episode?
Yeah, because I think that's before they get into like the run stuff.
I thought it was really, really good. Where she shows up like 6 minutes early, I think, and he's just like, "What are you doing?
You're not supposed to show up early. That's insulting. That's disrespectful."
Disrespectful for the artist, the author.
You're lucky it was with me. If it was with anyone else,
it would have been a real problem. Also,
like,
this art book is the only thing I own now.
Yeah. It's like, oh, who's this new artist or new author you're reading? And he's like, this is an artist. They've died in the 50s. Thank you very much.
And this is all I own.
And she's like,
I'm going to live in this book now.
What? What do you mean? So yeah, that was all good.
The children get his signature.
Mm-hmm. Feel good.
Yeah.
But that leads us all to the final episode of this set, Mutsukabe Hill, which we have also discussed previously from the anime version. Pretty similar in story structure and everything of you know how they do things here. The whole thing here is that Rohan buys the village because he wants to find the spirit that's living there and confirm it and everything because he wants to use it for his manga and all that sort of stuff. You know, the whole thing is about this lady who lives there. This guy she was having an affair with dies at her house by getting a golf club stuck in his head after they have a fight, and he doesn't stop bleeding, and that becomes the whole mystery of everything.
Yes.
So that all stuff is essentially still here. I thought the way they portrayed Gunpei, I don't remember how they did in the anime per se, but like he's very bizarre in this because he's very like childlike. It's like I think that's the way you described it.
Yeah, he acts like a kid. He didn't act like that in the anime. I don't remember him acting like that.
He's too busy playing his PS2.
Which is not correct in terms of time period, but
he's a time traveler.
He is a time traveler and a child. Like he legitimately acts like he's like 10 years old.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's very strange. Because the whole time like, girl, what do you see in him? And then I'm like, you know what? I've dated some terrible dudes too. So like, I can't
You make
judge her.
you make bad decisions when you're young sometimes.
Yeah, and this was very clearly a bad decision. Like
Mm-hmm.
he just acts so idiotic and
Very
childlike.
immature.
And it's very infuriating. And she's like, "Yeah, here's some money. You should go." Also, the money, very clear money, very, very real, very real.
Very
Not
real.
not a brick or anything. It's fine.
I thought it would have been funny if they showed the game he was playing and it was like one of the JoJo PS2 games.
Oh, that would have been really funny.
But I bet that would have been like a big licensing hoopla that they did not want to have to deal with.
Yeah.
But that would have been a funny get. But yeah, this is essentially that same story and everything. Like they don't really do a whole lot to change it or anything.
Except for the black and white.
Yes, they have to censor it to black and white because of the blood. Because obviously Gunpei bleeds all throughout the episode.
Clear drop of blood. It's
Yeah.
very obviously water.
Yeah, that was something. But yeah, they basically just make it so you don't really see blood. I mean, you see everything, but it's just like you can't see it that it's blood.
Yeah. You see that it's a dark liquid.
So I thought that was a very interesting design choice for this. But yeah, they basically do the same thing for this episode as they do in the anime and then the manga itself. You know, go ahead.
I just want to make sure you can talk about what you're going to talk about. But I want to make sure we talk about her fiance
And his mullet.
and his mullet.
I thought that was what you were about to bring up. So
well, yeah. He looks like Nishiki. And
Yeah.
he just like at one point destroys like half her house. It sounds like
to
trying
get in, and then she's like, "Oh hey, it's just cleaning up. Whoops." And he's like, "Oh okay, I guess I'll wait for you at the main house."
like,
Sorry, I broke
bruh.
through like 5 windows to get to you.
It was wild, and also like we both thought that they were on the same level.
But he's like running up flights of stairs to get to her and everything. It was very bizarre.
It was so strange. But yeah, he totally has like a mullet and looks like Ishiki.
It was a look.
It was a look.
I mean, I guess if this was like in the past, like that's period appropriate hair technically. Except for the PS2.
Except for the PS2, because they said it was 30 years ago.
I mean, that would be, I guess, depending on when this takes place, like the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
So, kind of fits. But regardless, it was very funny to see that dude just with his mullet show up.
It was so good. I mean,
Very
like, yeah, it would
good.
have been like what 91 if it were considered like modern day when they were.
Yeah, essentially, probably.
So, yeah, mullets totally would have still been in.
Mm-hmm. True story.
True story. But yeah, yeah, she's just like freaking out and panicking, and somehow doesn't get any blood on her outfit, which I still can't figure out how she did that.
She's real good with cleaning, apparently.
Really good with it.
But yeah, we see it was kind of funny how they like make him, what's the way to describe this? The way he like deflates.
He shrivels.
It shrivels up. Yeah, that's the way to do it. It looked very bizarre.
It really, really did. She's like, well, if I spritz him back to life, he's all young and pretty again, and I did love your face.
And I'm going to the bone zone with you. Let's have some children.
Yucky.
So yeah, we get all that story. Eventually, Rohan runs into like the daughter, and she just pops herself onto a rock, and he's like, "Uh-oh, gotta get out of here."
That I did this.
And then he thinks like, "Oh, the other kid's gonna do the same thing to Kyoka."
Yeah.
But she's like, "Oh yeah, he got tired, so I'm just carrying him up the mountain." Da 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 da.
And you even see like a slow-mo shot of him like tripping.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just got tired.
Got sleepy.
Same.
And then they just go back home.
And he gets the advance, and he doesn't lose his house.
And she brings him some cakes and everything, and she's like, "Yay, let's have some celebration cakes! You know, we survived. Your manga's doing well. Yay!" And he's like, "No, I gotta go to work. Please leave.
So much
Please
inspiration
leave.
right now.
I gotta go." And then the funny thing is, like in the first episode, like he kicks her out, and then like he has to go back and get her bag and stuff. So he's like, he pulls her arm up into like a just like where it's pointing out straight, and he just loops it on her arm and then just like shuts the door, and basically does the same thing here, but except he's like hands it to her, and then he hands her the cake box.
Yep.
And she's like, "Oh, you got me the cakes." He's like, "The box is empty," and then shuts the door and leaves.
my cakes now.
So good. I love their dynamic.
I do too. It's so good. I wish there had been more of it, but
Yeah, I do. I do as well. Um, but at
I
least what
mean,
we
it's
got
kind of
here.
hard to. It was great what we did get,
Yeah, I
but
think with these
consider the
stories in
stories they were
particular, yeah,
telling.
it's much harder to go into that with the way they have it. But yeah, I think that's one of the
So
best decisions
good.
they made for this is that just pairing those two together and keeping her character throughout.
Yep.
Such a great idea.
Yeah, the play off of each other is just so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They're really really funny.
definitely.
But yeah,
Uh,
Ron's just gonna eat his cake, or he's just gonna sit there and let it go bad while he draws. I'm not sure which.
and stretch.
And stretch. Gotta do the finger stretches.
Yep. But that's how we wrap up these second set of live action OVAs.
They were really good.
It's really fun. They are doing, like we said, a third set that will be happening later this year. They just announced it, but they have not gone into details of like what stories they're doing or anything like that. I think that's coming in like October.
I'm excited about that.
So we will eventually learn what those are, and then we'll come back and watch those and talk about them when they come out, and we can watch them. Also, if you want to watch the first series of OVAs, those are up on Amazon Prime now. So there is a legal way to watch them now, which is very cool.
Yay!
So go check those out if you have not.
Don't tell people we're doing things illegally.
Who said we're doing things illegally?
We watch things legally.
Yeah. Wink.
We follow all the laws and rules and
Yeah, that's
regulations.
right. Big
You,
law abiders here.
you wouldn't steal a Rohan Kishibe. Anyway,
God. But yeah,
they're on Amazon if you have that.
yeah, it's only the first set of episodes though, so you'll only get the first 3 episodes that aired
But
last
those
year,
are very
2 years
good.
ago, I guess now, in 2020. But yeah, those are also very good, so you should check them out if you have not done so. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up our episode this week.
Hmm.
So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared Now Watch. And also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shining Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, and a whole wealth of bonus content as well. Next week, you want to watch Sonic the Hedgehog 2?
I sure do.
Well, let's go do that. Or I guess we'll watch that, and then we'll talk about it
Yay! I love
next
tails.
week.
I love tails.
So we'll find out what's happening and all that.
Cool.